Hi everybody, it's LeeAnn. I'm here at SOAR and we're making ratatouille. So ratatouille is a roasted vegetable dish and I hope you'll give it a try. As the summer vegetables are coming in, it's an awesome time to make it. For your ingredients today, you're going to need an eggplant, a yellow squash, 2 red peppers, some fresh basil, a lemon, and sweet onion, either cherry or grape tomatoes. If you have fresh thyme, use that. Otherwise, I've got some dry thyme, some salt and pepper, some olive oil, and then it calls for a ½ cup of olives, and the recipe will say kalamata olives. I've got queen olives that we're going to use today, and then some garlic. Today you'll need for your utensils a baking sheet that has an edge, a flipper to stir your vegetables, a tablespoon, a teaspoon, a knife and cutting board, a 1/4 cup and a ½ cup, and some hot pads. First thing we want to do is get our oven ready. So we're going to open up the oven, and you want to put your rack at the middle of your oven. And then this recipe calls for a hot oven. So we are going to preheat your oven to 450 degrees. And get that preheated. Okay, so this is an eggplant, and what we're going to do is take off the peel. So you can take your vegetable peeler and you're just going to take that outer skin off your eggplant. Then we're going to slice it into 1-inch pieces. So best just to get it right in half. Is take our roasting pan, and we are going to roast our vegetables using a 1/4 cup of olive oil. So I'm going to put that in the pan first. All right. And then I'm just going to put our eggplant that I just chopped up into the pan. Next, we're going to cut up our yellow squash, so we're going to want to take off the ends. And then slice it down the middle. This too you want at 1 inch. Okay, so we're going to add our yellow squash in with our zucchini. Next, we're going to take our red peppers. We're going to take the stem out. What I like to do for those is just take the top off and get the seeds out. And then I'll chop this up. You want the pieces all about the same size so that they will roast evenly. So we're going to do inch pieces. Of pepper, red pepper. Sprinkle those over our squash. The vegetables as they cook will really soften up and shrink down to a nice bite-sized piece. So then we're going to take our cherry tomatoes, and I've already washed all the vegetables, so we can just add that into our pan. You don't even have to cut them in half, just put them right in. Then we're going to take our sweet onion, and let's hope it's sweet and not that I'll be crying here. And you want to thinly slice your onion. And then I'm just quartering those. So you have a slice like so. That'll break apart. And more of a mouse size piece. We're just going to break those up. If you had shallots that you got at the farm market or had in your garden, they would be excellent as well in this dish. We're going to add garlic, and we want 3 cloves of garlic that are thinly sliced added in there. So in our pan, we've got a wonderful array of colors. We've got our eggplant and our summer squash, red pepper, our tomatoes, onion. We've got olive oil, garlic. We're just going to add a teaspoon of black pepper and a teaspoon of salt. So we're going to sprinkle that over the top and add our teaspoon of salt. And our vegetables, once we toss them, will be all ready for roasting. So you can either use your spatula there, or just get in there with your hands. And you want to get that olive oil coating all your vegetables so they'll brown up really nice. So then pat your vegetables out into a single layer, and they will be ready to go into the oven. So we're going to put them in the oven at a 450-degree temperature on the middle rack, and we're going to start by putting them in for about 14 or 15 minutes and then stir. So after 15 minutes, if you want to take out your veggies and give them a quick stir. You see that a lot of the veggies are starting to shrink down and render their juices. That's one of the reasons why you want that edge on that pan. So we're just going to give it a quick stir, and again, just flatten it out. Okay, so we're going to stir our vegetables again. As you can see, they're really starting to break down. At this point, we are halfway through the baking process. I did put on the recipe if you wanted to make this a one-pan dinner. What you could do is push the vegetables further down on one end of the pan and add 4 bone-in chicken breasts and cook your chicken and your vegetables all together. That would take about another 25 minutes. So about halfway through, you'd want to add your chicken to the pan. You want to make sure that your chicken would reach an interior temperature of 165 degrees at the end to make sure they're done. What's nice with that is then you can mix in the pan juices from the chicken with your vegetables and add a little more flavor to them. But as you can see, it is definitely shrinking down as they're cooking. And we're going to put it back in the oven. We're going to put it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. Okay, so our roasted vegetables are cooling. We're going to let them cool about 5 minutes and then add our fresh herbs and other ingredients. So, okay, then we're going to want to zest a lemon. So what you're doing is just taking that outside yellow skin off, or the zest of the lemon. And when you get down to that white part, you want to stop. That pith can be bitter tasting, so you really just want the bright yellow coloring. We've got the 2 teaspoons lemon zest. I've got a ½ cup of chopped olives, and I did a rough chop. If you like a bolder, salty, briny taste, the recipe I know calls for having the olives, but I like it a little more chopped up in there, so I've got it just coarsely chopped. And then I have some dried thyme. I didn't have any fresh thyme, and what we had here was some ground thyme. So it's 2 teaspoons of fresh thyme, a little less than a teaspoon if you have dried thyme. If you have dried ground thyme, I would do about 1/4 teaspoon. So the whole pan of vegetables has cooked down to this. So we're going to add those last couple ingredients. And then stir them all together. This makes a great side dish, so I hope you enjoy.